Wow, we're at this time of year already. Halloween. Some people love Halloween. Some people really don't like Halloween. I find it's one of those festivals of the year that you fall in one or the other camps. What about you? How do you feel about this time of year? Like everything, I like to research. I like to know about what's underneath stories, what's at the beginning, what are the seeds, why do we have Halloween? What does it mean to you? Do write down in the comments field below, you know, if you have any things that make Halloween brilliant for you. So Halloween, the word Halloween came from All Hallows Eve. Hallow meaning holy. And in the Christian faith, it's actually a Christian festival of All Hallows Eve. It's the night before All Saints Day. All Saints Day is always on the 1st of November. And it's a really important day in the Christian faith where they celebrate many of the humans that have been absolutely fabulous and done good deeds in their life. And it's a day of remembrance and a celebration and a feast. So many of the people over the last few thousands of years would gather together on the eve of All Hallows Day, Holy Day, and they would have a very quiet time. They'd have a very, they'd be fasting and they'd be thoughtful and they'd be fully in remembrance. Some of them would actually dress up as if they were saints overnight, so the spirits of the saints would welcome them into their presence. And I find that quite interesting about where you start to dress up. And then actually on the day of celebration of All Saints Day, they would have a share of feast. Then the day after that, the 2nd of November, is All Souls Day. And this is where we remember every soul that's ever lived. And in remembrance of those people, we celebrate and have a think about that. So it's got some Christian connotations there. Some people, don't like it because it's a lot to do with fear as well. And what about the spirits and the evil spirits? But underneath this Christian celebration is Celtic, Roman, paganism, gods, goddesses, and celebration of the earth. And the time of the year that goes with Halloween is Samhain. And this is a time in the Celtic calendar of New Year, really, which is going out of harvest into winter. And in the Celtic tradition, their day used to begin at night. And they would sort of kind of dream the day into being overnight, because the darkness for the Celts meant where a seed would be planted. So it's the time of the goddess. So it was revered as a time of generating the creative powers of the birth of the new day, when the fire gods or goddesses would be born within the daytime. So it's a very, very special time across many different faiths and belief structures. So the earth religions believe this night is when the veil between the worlds of the living and the dead are at its thinnest. And so there's been a recognition of that for, forever. And so therefore, people would want to protect themselves against any evil spirits, and they would want to align with the goodness of the good spirits. And funnily enough, this is where the Irish, this is where the Irish come in, guys. So the Irish have a myth about Jack-o'-lantern. And it was about this guy called Jack who made some sort of agreement with his soul and the devil. And the cost of that was that he would walk the earth forevermore once he passed over. So the Irish used to carve demonic faces really into potatoes and into turnips. And they put them always at their porch door, at their front door, to ward away any evil spirits on the night of Halloween. And when they had a great immigration, 1400s, over to America, they found pumpkins work really, really well for this. And in Ireland, there was a lot of peat bogs and pog beets. Peat bogs. And when the sort of mist was over it, they call it the will-o'-the-wisp. So it's a very it's a time of day or evening where the worlds are, the veils are thin, not just on Halloween, but all the time. And that's where jack-o'-lantern comes in. And anyway, you can read up about that if you're interested in it. But yeah, that's where the American side started off with the pumpkins. So if you guys ever are carving faces and figurines and different things in the pumpkins, ask yourself, why are you doing that? You know, why do we do that? And it's to guard. It's still as a way of protection. So pumpkin carving comes, what you're doing there is you're asking for some protection against evil thoughts or badness or anything like that, illness in life. That's what you're doing it for. Traditionally, that's what runs through our heritage and through our ancestry. And and it's still usually placed at the entrance. So that's an interesting one about the pumpkins. So it goes together as well with the dressing up and being all ghoulish and things. It's actually as a protection amongst spirits. That's what's at the base of it all. But coming on from that, there's a belief structure that's even before that. And the belief structure that we really like is the one of remembering our ancestors. So when the veil is at its thinnest, there's a belief structure that says you can talk to, you can sense, you can feel your ancestors all the way down the line from beginning of time. And some of the Celtic traditions are beautiful with your ancestors here. It's a remembrance evening. It's an evening to celebrate those that have passed over. So one of the ways you might want to actually just take a little bit of time, whether that's pets or humans or anything else, it's a good thing with children to actually remember the pets maybe. But one of the things you can do is just light a candle sometime on Halloween. And just as a way of remembering your loved ones who have passed over before you. Some people call it into the Shadowlands. Sometimes the Celts call it into the Summerlands, beyond all darkness. And then what some people do, which I think is absolutely lovely, is they get a load of tea lights, and from your central blessed candle, in a way, you'd light all your tea lights, and one tea light for everybody that you're remembering. And if your family's together on that night, you could end up with a whole table full. If it's your guinea pigs and your hamsters and your various other things that have come with it. And just to say something nice, that you remember about that person. And just to, death can be a real taboo subject, can't it, in a lot of traditions? And it's like, it's part of life. It's a full cycle. We're in these cycles. And why not have an evening where we remember our loved ones? So you could end up with a whole table full and just let the lights and candles burn out in their own good, sweet time. And, if you're remembering during the evening other memories, you can always add to it. Another tradition that some people still do, which is lovely, if you haven't tried it, you might want to, is to set an extra place around your table. Just to remember your ancestors. It doesn't actually have to just be Halloween, but this is another tradition that some people use, and raise your glass to that person. The Celts were a big believer in that you needed to leave out some food for your animals, and you'd need to leave some food and drink for all of your ancestors. And they had a celebration where they would welcome their ancestors into the home, and they would imagine that they were sitting, sharing that space with them for that evening meal and raising a glass to them and having a very jolly time. So maybe some of these things are of interest to you. I don't know. Let me know in the comments field below. Halloween's always felt a very quiet time to me. It always feels like a time where everything slows down and we can just go indoors. And I've always felt that beginning of that wisp of winter that's coming in, and certainly the darker nights. And it always just feels like it feels like a sacred time. It's always felt like a sacred time for me. But as a child, I was brought up with duck apple nights. Now, does anybody know what duck apple games are? Okay, so these are where you get a big bowl of water and you get the apples that would be floating on the top, and you had to tie your hands behind your back. You're not allowed to use your hands. And then you duck your head in the water and you try and take a bite of the apple. So another one was where we used to hang them up on string, you know, tie them to the apple and get the string up, and then you'd have to try and do it that way. Any of you use the shoulders to have a go at biting that apple? Now, I had a little look up and I thought, where did that come from? So I Googled it because I didn't know where that originated from. I just remember having a load of fun, and I did it with my own children, and I've seen it with the grandchildren, and on it continues. And I found this bit of information I'm going to read out for you. There are many apple games played at Samhain, which grew out of the belief in the apple as a sacred and magical fruit. And it was the Romans who brought apple trees over because they believed in the goddess Pomona. So the apple is a symbol of life and immortality. In Celtic tradition, apples were buried at Samhain as food for those souls who were waiting to be reborn. The apple, cut crosswise, reveals the five-pointed star, or pentacle, at its core, and this, we believe, is a symbol of the goddess. And I thought it was quite funny. I was reading about the original games that were played in Roman times with the apples and around the goddess Pomona. And it was the young unmarried couples that would play this game. And whoever bit into the apple first was the next one who would get married. What fun. So you've got quite a lot of different traditions, different ways, the way it's grown organically. It's lived through various different faiths. So Halloween is a very personal time. For me, it's a quiet time nowadays with my children left home and things. And it's a time to reflect and celebrate the ancestors and all the goodness that we've learnt through our ancestry line. And to finish off today, I have a pack of cards by Kyle Gray called Angels and Ancestors. So I thought I'd see what an overall card is for Halloween for all of those who are watching this today. Do you think that might be a clue as to what it might be? I don't know. Let's see which one jumped out of the pack. How amazing. So we have the Protection Guardian. Well, we've been talking about that, haven't we, about carving your pumpkins and various things. And it's actually saying, drop your shields. Just have a look at this picture. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to take that as a beautiful message. You know, we might well do our pumpkins and pop it at the doorway. But drop your shields. I love the idea. I absolutely love the idea of inviting all our gorgeous ancestors in on the night that they might find easier to find us, and welcome them and have a party. Lots of love, everyone. Enjoy your Halloween, whatever it may be. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions, and Autumn, release the old and rest. So these are the other two cards that came out with it. If you're using your water guardian, definitely have a go at duck apple. Honest to God, if you've never tried that game yet, please try it. It's just such fun trying to dunk your head under the water and get the apple. You need it deep enough. No cheating with shallow bowls. That's just not fun. Release the old and rest. We definitely get that message as we're coming. Well, we're in full autumn here, but there's a hint now and again of the winter to come, which is deep rest. Okay, my loves, enjoy. Mwah. See you soon. Bye for now.